coordination with the pre-hospital care providers. We were ready and waiting. We had the teams assembled in the room for when the patients arrived so that they could get the maximum medical and surgical care that they needed.
Can you tell us how many patients you've treated here?
We have only treated 3 patients here that we received and transported from the scene.
Are you aware of there being other people shot?
We don't anticipate that there will be any more patients transported to the hospital at this time. The state police have been managing the dissemination of information from the school there. We have received some additional information, but at this point in time, I'm not in a position to disclose that.
Do you have any information on the fact that more than 24 people were shot and killed at the school?
I can't verify that information.
And that 14 were children?
I cannot verify that information. I'm going to again refer you to the state police who have taken charge of the situation there, given the gravity and the impact on that community.
Well, that's the impression, of course, we're getting from the medical facilities there. There will be more than one. There will be plenty of hospitals in the region of Newtown, Connecticut, and it's standard hospital procedure that the doctors can talk about what they have had to do, but they will not speculate or talk about what other hospitals in the area have to do. And indeed, the doctor responded quite quickly to this question that perhaps more than 24 people had been killed or injured, saying he knew nothing about that. That one hospital making it clear they had treated 3 patients. Now, Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, 626 in the student body. Like those children you can see in the picture there, they're all under the age of 11. It's pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, up to what the Americans call grades 4, 5 and 6. That's up to 11 before they move then to middle school, and then after that on to high school. Not considered because the majority of school shootings in the States to date, of which there have been plenty, it's worth mentioning, have been at high schools. It's not such a high security expectation in kindergarten level schools and elementary schools as it is in the high schools, which will be something I'm sure we'll hear about in due course from the local police. Parents of 626 students, there will be hundreds of adults now gathering around this school, anxious to hear what's going on, anxious to hear where their children are, and there will be all that organisation going on as we speak, which of course puts more pressure on the police as we wait to hear what they've got to say. Local cameras have picked up a couple of witnesses at the school so far. This is what they had to say a short time ago to journalists at the scene.
A friend of mine said that there was a masked man came in and just started shooting. So I don't know how he came in, because every time you go in, you have to ring a bell, and they can see you from the office, and they know who you are, and they let you in. So I don't know if it's somebody they knew.
When we were gone doing morning meeting, we heard like shots, and everybody went on the ground, and Miss Martin just closed the door, and we went to the corner.
Local residents there, perhaps even concerned with the school itself, saying what they heard. Sandy Hook, just one of plenty of elementary schools in the area. Newtown, a town of 60,000 people or so, and the Americans work a geography system in their education. That means if you live in the area, that's the school that you go to. We have had reports from Fairfax County in Connecticut, where Newtown is, that other schools have all been closed since the news of the shooting came through. So there is what you might describe as a general state of emergency in the area, so much so that as this numbers, of course, have got worse, already reporters are throwing questions at the White House spokesperson in Washington to find out what the president has to say about this at this stage. We did understand we were going to hear from a Lieutenant Paul Vance from Connecticut State Police. Newtown Police and State Police expected to do a joint news conference at the top of this hour, but frankly it's understandable that they're running a bit late on that one. But no further details from the local law enforcement at this stage. It's been local media outlets that have suggested that 27 people may have been killed, and that indeed has been picked up by 2 US networks now, and they're putting that news out nationally. Also watching the story, our US correspondent Dominic Waghorn there. Dominic, what strikes me now, without any more information at the moment, this could be a terrible event we're about to get details of. If you think of shootings in the past, thinking back to Colorado, thinking to Virginia Tech, the older children with that element of gun crime creeping into the student body. But it was only really, I can think of 2006 in Pennsylvania, when that man took weapons up against the Amish kindergarten children. That seems to compare with what I think we're going to hear from Connecticut State Police shortly.
Yeah, well, there's the Virginia Tech shooting in that college in Virginia a few years ago where 32 people died. Now, one local reporter is saying that he's been told by his state police source that this could be the worst shooting incident in American history. Now, if it's 27 dead, that won't be in terms of the death toll. But if you think about the age of these children, if 18 children under the age of 11, between the age of 5 and 11, have been killed in this school, then that description may fit what has happened in this elementary school in those terms. But we don't know exactly what the death toll is. One other worrying bit of information that another reporter tweeted was that an entire classroom is unaccounted for. What we know in terms of the timeline is that an emergency call was made at 9:40 reporting the presence of a gunman in the school office. We think that may have been called by the vice principal, according to some reports. There are reports that the principal and the school psychologist was shot by the gunman, and then he seems to have moved into the school proper and was reported to have been in a kindergarten classroom, at least one kindergarten classroom, opening fire. Now, by 10:30, so 50 minutes later, children were still being evacuated from the school as law enforcement officers, police, FBI agents, state troopers rushed to the scene, as did reporters. And as that evacuation process was underway, reporters got eyewitness accounts from people escaping. They were told, as we've heard earlier from that young child, that she heard gunshots. Others reported hearing the same, and they saw children being taken away covered in blood. We've heard from that hospital saying 3 patients have been treated. But in terms of a casualty list or a death toll, we have not got a confirmed figure yet from the police or from other emergency services yet, and that's what we're waiting to hear from the police as they prepare to, as you say, brief us on what does look like it could be one of the worst shooting incidents in American history, Andrew.
Yeah.